led by Prime Minister Lapid, at this moment, is signing a deal that will delineate the country's maritime borders with Lebanon. That's despite the fact that the two countries are in a technical state of war. So how and why is this all happening now, and what does it all mean just days ahead, truly, of Israel's fifth election within the last 3.5 years? Now, just some of the questions we'll address here in the coming half hour and beyond. But first, here's some from Prime Minister Lapid just a short while ago.
I'm very happy to open the special cabinet meeting to authorize the historic agreement on the maritime border with Lebanon. It's a major achievement for the State of Israel and for the government of Israel. This is an agreement that strengthens our security and our freedom of action against Hezbollah and the threats from the north. There's a consensus, a rare consensus among the entire security establishment about the need for this agreement. Defense Minister Benny Gantz, IDF, National Security Agency, all of them believe this is a good agreement for the State of Israel and its needs. It's a diplomatic achievement. Not every day an enemy recognizes an agreement with Israel, with the United States and France providing guarantees to this agreement. This is also an economic agreement. Yesterday, we began extracting gas for providing gas, and also from the Kana rig in Lebanon, the money will come in.
And while this deal is being signed this hour, we're joined in the studio by our defense correspondent, Jonathan Regev, as well as Amir Oren, defense and government commentator, and Shai Bazak, political strategist, consultant, former media director, spokesperson for Benjamin Netanyahu. So thank you all for being with us here. Again, it's a big development, certainly, ahead of the elections here. Amir, I'll come to you first with a broad perspective on the issues, whether we go political, security. On this deal, first of all, good deal, bad deal? It's not a no deal. We know they're doing something here. But where does this lie on the spectrum for Israel?
It's a very good deal. You may remember from 400 years ago that a British scholar coined the expression penny wise and pound foolish. This is the exact opposite.
Okay.
The critics who nibble at various clauses and the fine print miss the big picture. And the big picture is that Israel and Lebanon are sweeping away a sore spot in the relationship. Now, in 1949, in the armistice agreements, Israel and Syria, for instance, also Israel and Egypt, kept some issues to be solved later. Demilitarized areas, Mount Scopus with Jordan and others. And these points always raised conflicts later. Now, if Israel and Lebanon can set aside their maritime dispute, and if Lebanon now has a lot to lose by abrogating the agreement and all the other arguments regarding Hezbollah and Iran, no need to
any kind of conflict. Sure,
it's all for the good, and obviously, if both countries want outside investments, they want energy companies, they want superpower involvement. In this case, United States, but also France, which is not a superpower.
Yes. They've got to settle the issues, though, around this. So it's hard to make those big deals.
It's all to the good.
With something unresolved. The glaring fact, though, Shai, is we're just ahead of elections here, and not everyone is cheering this deal today. I mean, we're hearing Lapid talk about the quote-unquote consensus around this being nothing but a positive deal. Political opposition is saying something else right now, just ahead of elections. They're calling it capitulation to the enemy, essentially, in uncertain terms. Where does Benjamin Netanyahu take this now, just ahead of elections?
I can imagine that if Benjamin Netanyahu would be the one who signed this agreement, he would be very happy with this. But it's, as you said, it's political days, and we are in the middle of another political election cycle in Israel, and politicians before
pinch ourselves and remember, yes, this is actually happening again.
They are not very happy to give some gifts to their opponents when they are running for elections. So of course he has a lot of criticism on this agreement, but it's interesting to see that he started with this very harsh criticism, but then he backed off because I think he got it by the polls and everything that the public opinion in Israel are not being convinced by his arguments when you have all the defense, intelligence, establishments, as Prime Minister Lapid just said, supporting this agreement. When people look and say, okay, it's going to be a good thing for us because we're going to have a gas from the Mediterranean. They just started to extract it, I believe, today or yesterday. But also the Lebanese going to have gas for them, and we want them to have something to lose, and also morally we want them to flourish. We are not happy to see them starving, and they are really starving. I understood that some Lebanese said, I wish we would live in Gaza. It's a better situation than us. So we want them to flourish. We want them to have energy and food, and if it's going to be good for both sides, and as you said, we are still in as an enemies. It's good for everybody. And I said again, I believe that if Netanyahu would be Prime Minister today, I believe, but I cannot guarantee, he would sign same agreement very happily.
He stopped saying that he is going to cancel it if he's back in power.
Right, he hasn't gone that far. And as you say, you may soften that rhetoric a little bit in the coming days. Jonathan, on the security front, though, and Amir touched on this now, sort of giving the countries here in a war footing, and certainly with all the tension that's been, there between Hezbollah and Israel. This gives Hezbollah perhaps, and I talk about Hezbollah in the terms of looking at Lebanon, the power broker they are up there, something to lose in case of a conflict here? Or is there another side to this that's worried about actually empowering Hezbollah by providing some sort of infrastructure to them, economic viability?
I would say both. First, does it give Hezbollah something to lose? Yes, because it gives the Lebanese state something to lose. Lebanon we do not know what's under the Kana rig, but there may be gas there, which would be very beneficial for Lebanon, who's literally starving, as was said here, and needs this energy. So yes, it would give something, Lebanon and Hezbollah something to lose, and they would think again before starting a war. They're already thinking about that. It's no coincidence that the northern border has been nearly completely quiet for 16 years. Israeli deterrence is working, and here we have another brick in the Israeli deterrence. But does this empower Hezbollah? Absolutely, because this maritime issue has been disputed for years. And now Hezbollah can come and say, why did the Zionists come and sign their agreement now? It came because we threatened them, because of our resistance, because we sent our drones there. Those drones were not sent there to attack. Those drones were sent as a message. We threatened them, we did not shoot a bullet, and they capitulated. That's the message Hezbollah would give to the Lebanese people. Therefore, I think both are correct. Is the Lebanese state gaining from this? Yes. Is Hezbollah gaining from this? Also yes.
We are not sure that the Lebanese people are believing the message from Hezbollah. They understood that till a month or 2 months ago they were all against this agreement together with Iran, and suddenly they are for it because they see that there are no other option, because Lebanon needed it.
Well, we've seen Netanyahu actually take this line as well, that hey, they threatened the gas rig. I believe in the first days of Lapid's reign as prime minister, they flew these drones at the gas rig. Amir, is there a connection there between the threats and the fact that now we're reaching a deal after years of negotiation?
No, there is little to no connection. Yes, there is mutual deterrence between Israel and Hezbollah as far as attacking targets within Lebanon goes, and even as far as killing Lebanese operatives of Hezbollah outside of Lebanon, in Syria, for instance. But it does not apply to this particular dispute, and it may surprise you to learn that in the Israeli defense establishment, Hassan Nasrallah is now perceived to be a stabilizing force within Lebanon if they were given the choice.
A remarkable statement, but as Jonathan highlighted, a lot of years to support that.
Yes, but right now, given the choice of killing him if he pops out of his bunker or not, they would not. Because in this particular instance, Nasrallah acted more as a Lebanese than as a Shiite.
We're stepping out for a short break. Shai Bazak, Jonathan Regev, stay with us. We'll be right back after a short break here. Continue covering the subject.